I'm sure you were expecting to hear the voice of a beautiful elf or a wise wizard, so they could spin you a tale of gold and ancient evils. But that is not this story. No, this is a story of four friends that call Middle-earth home. A dwarf of the line of Durin's kin, who is obsessed with knowledge instead of gold. An elf of Rivendell, sworn to serve and protect the descendants of a once great house. A banished dwarf, seeking glory and proof that there is more to life than what lies under a mountain. And a hobbit of the Shire, who collects treasures of the smallest kind. Together, with their strength, wits, and heart, they will face the growing shadows of the East, bringing light where there is darkness. I reach out and I stop and go, Willie, where are you going?
Oh no, it's gonna make my way back to you. Look, I got it.
You're going the wrong way.
Okay, well, I don't know what to do.
Wait, you're touching it?
What else am I gonna do with it?
I don't know. You didn't even pick it up with a claw or nothing. That's dangerous.
What? It's a ring.
Oh, I reach into my pocket and I grab a hanky and I put it out, drop it in the hanky, and I bind it up and then I hand it back to Willie and I go, magics and stuff. You can't just go touching strange jewelry.
Damn. Yeah, I think the light falters for a moment and Willie goes and puts it on one of his wee fingers.
Oh, he puts it on.
How do you like that, Michael? Do you plan on that?
I like it so much. You want to put on a cursed and ancient? You want to just slip on an ancient cursed ring? Is that what you want to do? Is that what we're doing here?
Yes.
We're slipping on ancient cursed rings. You think it's just gonna be sunshine and roses?
Absolutely.
So you slip this. You slip this on your little hobbit finger. You feel that power bolster inside of you, and then you feel as if even though the shadow is a good few feet away from you, you feel its hand grip your heart. And you feel that cold just sort of spread, and that touch of shadow just permeates you. And as you look up in that tremble from earlier holding onto the lantern, it begins to quake as you see this creature standing before you, not as a shapeless, bony sort of skeletal frame. You see an ancient warrior stood towering over Glowfram. Barely even acknowledging Elverneth, who you now see behind it, fully clad in beautiful adornments of human-made, of men-made armors, and you see in its hand is this glimmering blade, and it turns to you, and you see two cold blue beady eyes. You have drawn the ire of this creature, and it hunts you.
Do I see the ring upon his finger? If your hands are up, do I see it?
Hands are up, trying to defend himself.
Okay, I have a really, really bad plan. It's the most Glowfram thing I can think of in the moment. Knowing also that for whatever reason, my lucky hammer didn't get so lucky the second time, and I know it's after the ring, I'm going to take the ring from Willie's finger, and I'm going to swallow it.
What?
I'm going to swallow the ring.
Seeing all of this, Elverneth is at her most desperate state of being. She's like, this is the moment. And she takes one last large breath and sings a line as she slashes one more time with her sword. Just because she has no idea how else to get all of this energy and this anxiety out of her. As that last note rings in the air and the sword cuts through the area, the shadows almost kind of pop like a giant bubble and just wisp away.
Yoldrick, you notice immediately the same kind of feeling you had when you met the elves in the forest. Elverneth actually sort of appears lighter, as if her physical being is refracting starlight. As this choir sort of alights on the wind, you can almost feel a warmth around you. And Willie, you feel it as well as you unfreeze. Glowfram, you're not sure whether it is the heat of exertion or something has changed, but you feel degrees warmer.
What if it's not the ideal, honestly, thought, but what if you went on without me? What if I just went back home? What if I'm not meant to do anything like this? I nearly got all of you killed. I nearly got myself killed. I don't even know what happened. Everything just froze for a moment.
Well, even if you wanted to go home, we're going to have to pass through Bree. So, our path seems pretty clear.
Let's go back to Bree. Heal up, rest up. I'm in no condition to travel currently either.
And you know what? If you want to go back, I'll walk you myself. Or you could just stay here and be with us.
But we're going back to Bree.
Yeah, but Willie ain't from Bree.
Well, I think we'll make any further decisions on what happens next at Bree. And that's when Yoldrick walks towards the mountains and starts getting ready to head off to Bree.
So we cut across hill and dale, out of the Bree lands, and into parts thus unknown. We see a ruined keep. Hundreds of fires burn around it. Small fires. Sat at each of them are orcs, goblins, they're wargs. There are hives of stinging insects suspended above them, and inside what makes for what may have once been some sort of throne room or stately room paces somebody we have not seen before. Human man, dressed in finery in a robe with a gold chain marked with a symbol that matches the very necklace that Willie carries on him. He's seemingly talking to no one. Very aggressive, gesticulating wildly. It seems as though things are not going as he had planned. And the camera pans, and he is talking to a mirror. On the other side of that mirror is a knight dressed in black mail, black hood, black robe. An equally dark sword is rested against the chair that it sits at, and a 9-pointed crown sits atop its head. No words come out of the mirror, no words come out of this knight, but you can tell there is a conversation happening here between this man and this creature. The knight moves his hand, and the mirror changes, and we see the caravan, 4 of you, and Narvig headed back to Bree as the Eye of Sauron fixes on your company. Arise, minions, and welcome to unMadeGaming. We are here. None of my buttons work, and we're late. So thank you for those of you who are live, hanging out to watch us, even though we are a bit late. This is another one of our one-shots. However, unlike the previous 2, this is not a character story or a backstory here. This is a special bonus episode.
This is a now story.
This is a now story.
This is the story of now.
Yeah, this is currently in canon in this moment.
Even though I had tons of backstory for Glow from everybody.
Yeah.
Mike did not want it. He was like, I don't want your shitty backstory. I want
your shitty current story.
I want your shitty current story.
Yeah, out fucking standing. So you saw the recap. You know what happened. So to quickly jump into it here, as they say, the party. Hold on, let me turn our dot up here. The party.
I could do that.
I did it on my end.
Cool.
The party, Glowfram, and Narvig, all have made their way back to Bree. Glofrim and Narvik, having been forced to take the lead as a league of space was provided at the behest of Elverneth to allow love to flourish in such dark times, as is at least how she put it to everyone else. Since then, you have all made it back to Bree. And immediately headed for your old haunting grounds, the Inn at the Prancing Pony. Much like the ride back, Glofrim, Narvik is attached to your hip, and the rest of the party has gotten a table and recommended the two of you take some space to see what happens. They say that with their mouths, but it is through grins and shiny squinted eyes, as you know there is nothing but mirth and humor in their desire to set you and Narvik at a table all to your own. But they do so, and they sort of close ranks around a table, almost blocking you out, so you are forced to spend time with your new love.
Okay. All right. I say, I don't even need your table. I can sit wherever I want. And I go to the bar.
And as if on a leash of love, Narvik follows, and you see that there's one seat available at the bar, and no other seats adjacent to that, which is perfect for you.
And it's next to Narvik?
It's not. Narvik is behind you, puppy dogging. But you do see that as soon as you take that seat, he is in that weird position where you try to like hover around someone in the chair when there's only one chair. You know, that weird boyfriend stance. He tries to do that, but obviously several feet too short.
Okay, so while I've got you in my personal space, Narvik, I thought I'd ask you a question.
Yes. Anything.
Do you drink?
Oh, I can drink with the best of them. Yeah, of course.
Do you pay?
For you.
Good answer. Now, in full, honesty, I'm not a lightweight.
I wouldn't think anything about you would be a lightweight.
Great. We'll take 2 big ones. Full pints, please.
And I'll also take 2. And he pulls out some dwarvish coin out of his and slides it, absolutely trying to impress. The entire time he has enough space between you that he's not like gross, but he is absolutely, his back is against the thigh of the man behind or next to you, and he's absolutely trying to jostle him a little bit off of his stool to try to take his seat.
Narvik, we're not going to stay here. Don't get antsy in your pants.
If there's somewhere you'd like me to have my pants, I would happily put them there, take them.
No, I'd like them on.
On, okay. Well, I mean, that's everyone has their preference. Some people it sucks, but either way, could I get?
What is your preference?
Well, off, of course.
All the time.
It depends what we're doing.
You just want to walk around with your pants off?
If I'm following you around.
Well, that doesn't seem like a courtesy to anybody else around us. No offense. I'm sure you look great with your pants off.
Dot and I talked about a lot of things that were going to happen in this episode, but none of it was this. And I think we forgot until the moment happened.
And I'm just deadpan. So.
A table, yes.
I'm going to try to outdrink you. If you lose.
And if I win.
If you lose. You've got to walk around town with your pants off, because, you said you don't really like wearing pants. And who am I to stop you from being the most comfortable version of yourself? If I lose, I'll show you something very special.
I'll be honest.
It'll be
This
something
sounds like
you
a
ain't-
win-win to me.
Precisely. So let's start drinking. Can promise you'll see something you ain't never seen out of any dwarf ever. It's kind of like a magic trick.
His eyes sparkle like he discovered Mithril. He takes 3 of the flagons, leaving you with the one in your hand, and immediately walks over to a table where there is one sad, slightly older man there sipping on a drink, and you see him jab with big sturdy dwarven fingers. You see him jab this man in the shoulder, but can't quite hear exactly what is said. And that man vacates the table that absolutely had enough room for all of you to sit at. And he like dusts off that seat and presents the seat to you, as if there weren't several other options to choose from.
Or that my hiney isn't already dirty as hell from fighting fucking wraiths in the middle of a field somewhere to protect a caravan. But you know, sure, he can wipe off
a wolf.
a wolf. You know, yeah, no, my ass is clean. So I have a seat on this dusted bench, and I want to start drinking a lot, as much as my dwarven body can handle. I want my eyes floating.
Fantastic. Now, here's what I'll say. Dwarves are known for their choice of words, vigor. And you've almost outdrank everyone who has presented you with the opportunity to outdrink, right? Rare is it that you have the chance more recently to outdrink a dwarf, as all of your ilk or kin, are big drinkers. So there's a moment where he is matching you drink for drink. That there's like a little voice in the back of your head that is reminds you that you haven't played this game with a dwarf in recent years. And that there's a slight chance you could be in over your head. Do you just keep slamming him back?
Well, that's the look. This is not for Norvig's entertainment. This is in hopes of regurgitating something of great value. So my hope is that he passes out before I throw up. But if it doesn't happen that way, hopefully it's a win-win for me too, because he gets to see me up Chuck on our first date, or, you know, and like I said, the magic trick, gold. Bet you never seen a dwarf throw up gold before.
You know what? I said we probably weren't going to roll dice, but I'm going to roll dice.
I had a feeling we were going to roll dice over this.
I'm gonna have you roll one roll right now. And the outcome, if you succeed, he passes out.
Okay.
If you succeed, he passes out first. If you fail, you pass out first. I want you to roll me an awe.
God damn it. Okay. You know, is there a situation in this dice roll where I do upchuck the ring?
Not in this dice roll. But if you'd like, I can invent a roll over the course of the next few minutes to determine what side of you the ring comes out of.
Okay, so maybe that's a different roll. I see what you're saying. Okay, well, you know, my friends are nearby, so they won't let Narvik do nothing horrible to me. So fuck it. I'll just give it a straight check. Oh, I'm so far down.
Okay.
I failed pretty bad.
You are not awesome. Turns out you are awful. So the night grows long. And it was already night. Actually, the day grows early.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
The amount of time that you have been, you walked here, and the consumption of alcohol, you begin to see the first grays and oranges of dawn. The But you are going what is essentially flagon for flagon with Mr. Narvig here, who is surprisingly holding his own. At least as far as you're concerned, you're surprised that he's holding his own, mostly because of your own confidence in yourself.
You know what? I'm sure I'm getting drunker, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
This is only because you're tall. You have more space to hold it. It's not really fair.
He looks to you in a similarly slurring voice, and he says, "Well, if you'd like, I can come down there for you and help you out."
No, I don't think you should do that. You stay on your side of the table, mister. No cheating in this here game. I'm still awake.
It is getting a bit hot in here, and he undoes a few toggles on his
I'm already replanning the lyrics to the song about Narvig.
I hope Eris is watching, just wherever she is.
I'm actively replotting the lyrics to his great ballad.
Yeah. It has to start with remix, and then you continue from there.
I Middle Earth rap upon it.
Jesus Christ. You through blurry vision, you see him mention that it's getting hot in here, and as if he had a Band-Aid on his eye, he begins to toggle off some parts of his shirt to expose his.
Why are you taking your shirt off? You're supposed to be taking your pants off.
I haven't lost yet, and that's a treat. This is just I need to make more breathing room here so I can drink more. And you see him like suck in air and like expand his barrel chest as he downs another flagon.
Okay, I'll down another flagon too. Perfect. I mean, this goes only a few very specific directions, so yeah. I'm just here to ride it out.
And that's the whole plan here. So you swig back this ale from the Inn of the Prancing Pony, and as you slam it back down and sort of meet his gaze, you see behind him is the bar, and you see a bunch of people sort of standing there. Well, you assume they're people because they just look like dark shapes because you can't see that far anymore. But you do see that there is something moving behind them, and you see what you assume might be small bottles, like on a shelf. A sober Glowfrom would know that's the barkeep, and a shelf of bottles there. But you see that, and it begins to sort of blur together. And the shadows grow a little bit long, and the bottles, these blurry bottles, also begin to grow long. And you have to like shake your head and blink to try to see if this is like really happening. And as this continues, the sunlight sort of hits these bottles. Still too early for the sun to actually do this, but the sunlight hits the bottles, and they appear to be like white, like alabaster white. And strangely enough, your vision is clarifying. It's not getting more blurry. It's actually getting less and less blurry.
I put a fat finger out on Narvig's lips. I'm like, shush, stop talking.
Your finger
and I get
is
up.
Moist.
I get up, and I go, can I assume? Actually, I'm drunk. I don't know. I scoop me flagon up. And I take it over to the bar, where all these bright lights are. Does anything get clearer?
Yeah, you walk closer to the bar, and everything sharpens as if coming into focus. And you like perhaps climb onto one of the stools, and you're like leaning with your like midsection on the bar, leaning over, and the bar feels cold. It feels cold, and it feels smaller than it should, like thinner than it should. And you lean forward looking at these white things glinting in the sun. And again, as you lean closer and closer, it begins to sharpen and sharpen and sharpen. And you see buildings. As far as the eye can see, you see buildings. Bright white alabaster buildings with dark green ivy sort of crawling down the side of them. Gold-capped domes are on the top of these things, and you see a city form in concentric-ish circles, each with these towers just sort of shooting up against the backdrop of a mountain. And beyond the city, you see a massive river, the ocean. You're not entirely sure. You see water, a large body of water.
Okay, well, I'm from the east. I've seen water before from the Blue Mountains. Do I know this city? Is it recognizable from some book or tale?
It is not.
Or a battle?
It
or
is
a battle?
Nope. You know what? Here's what I'll ask you this. How in depth is Glowfram's knowledge of non-dwarven battles of ancient history?
Probably not as much. Okay, here's what I'd rather do then. I want to, in my drunken state, I don't want to forget this. It has to go in my journal, but I'm too drunk to make it happen. I need to find out what this place is. This is like a dwarf seeing literal mounds of gold for the first time. It like draws something in him, but Glowfram doesn't really care about shiny things. I mean, shit, she just ate a ring for Pete's sake. So she doesn't care about that. She cares about knowledge, and this is something she's never seen. She doesn't know anything about, and I want to remember it. So can I just like make like a scan check or something to like be able to recall what I see?
Yeah, if you want to be able to recall it with an aptitude to draw it later, roll me craft.
Oh, okay. I can do that. I'm happy. Please don't fail me now. Great success.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so you can recall this at a later time, and sketch what you recall. But you feel the bar against your against your midriff, and it feels cold enough to like cut through your armor, your leathers. But it feels smaller. It feels like it's only 4 or 5 inches thick, as opposed to the bar, which is like easily over a foot thick. And again, you see this sight. You are high above this thing. You are ostensibly in one of the towers. Looking out at these other high white alabaster towers over this place. The air smells crisp. The sun is high in the sky. And the air smells crisp and fresh and new. And there's some sort of like, it's almost sweet, like a honeysuckle in the air, just existing here, like a perfume permeating the city.
I take a sip of me flagon.
I
look around. Can I get off the counter if it feels thin?
You reach down to where your flagon was, and you bring to your lips a finely crafted stem of a wine glass. And as you look at this, like you hit the cold glass hits your lips, and it's not the wooden flagon. And you take it away, and as you look at this, your hands do not look like your hands. They are thinner, spindly. They have seen work. There is a slight coarseness to them, but they are far more delicate than you could ever hope your fingers to be.
I immediately take my skinny fingers and I check my ears.
They are long.
Oh no! I say so loud. No! Am I taller?
You look down and you do appear to be much taller. The banister you are at is not in fact a bar at all, but a alabaster stone banister comes up to your waist, and you realize that banister is probably 4 feet off the ground, or off the floor you're standing on.
Is there anyone around me anymore?
You turn around, and there is a large semicircular balcony that you are standing on. Behind you is the tower that extends slightly higher, and a large, ovular arching doorway that leads back into somewhere. You see gossamer curtains blowing in the wind.
Well, at least Narvig's not here, I say out loud.
That is true.
And then I'm like, wait. So, okay. It's definitely a dwarf before this all started. Not a dwarf now. If I'm talking out loud, do I sound like myself?
It takes a second And then you hear your voice is far more, not exactly sing-songy, but like there is a lyrical nature to your voice. It doesn't sound like the earth. It doesn't sound like a brawny, stern, dwarvish voice. It sounds
I'm an
a little bit
elf.
like Elverneth.
I'm an elf. I can't. What is that? I can't. Oh, okay. I'm going to snap out of this. This is just a nightmare, Glowfrom. We used to dream this all the time. This is can't be happening. This is not happening. Oh no, my mustache has gone too, hasn't it?
It is. You have the smoothest baby face, angular.
I start to cry. This is not what I planned at all. What did they put in that drink? Norvig. This is all his fault. I know it. How did they do that? Or maybe it's what they brewed. I thought it tasted a little strange. Maybe I just drank too much. Is there a way off this balcony?
Yeah, there is a door behind you leading somewhere inside this tower.
I pull back whatever door or curtain or whatever elves use to hide their doorways, and I push through.
There are very thin, flowy gossamer curtains that are here. That are the worst for a dwarf. Completely ineffectual. You walk into this room and you see directly in front of you, maybe a good 10 feet, is a round bed that is that is made into the shape of a swan. You see at the foot of the bed is the neck of the swan that sort of comes down, almost like the elvish swan boats. You see large wings sort of set back, and the tips of the wings enter into the wall itself, and sort of crest up over into a canopy, where you see more of these gossamer curtains just sort of there, and a shape moves in the bed as if rolling over. You see a large dresser, armoire, an open closet full of gowns.
Is there a mirror?
And there is a large mirror.
I immediately go over to the mirror.
mirror.
I want to see myself as such a horror.
Yeah. You are a 6 and change foot tall, absolutely by human and elvish standards, gorgeous elf. You have dark chestnut brown hair that sort of falls on your shoulders, and it's one of those things where like you have that movie star hair where you woke up and it was like, oh, and it just flounces properly on the shoulders and stays where it is.
I'm not even a redhead.
No, unfortunately.
Oh, I got the shit. Okay.
Unfortunately,
This is
you wear
going to
you wear
end
some
now.
sort of sleep gown that has like intricately woven beadwork and like pearls into the like the sleeves, the neckline. Everything is by your standards absolutely gaudy.
Okay, without trying to wake this sleeping elf, this room, does it look like it has books or a desk or somewhere that might have writing or a piece of paper where I can figure out what the fuck I am?
Yeah. There's a table, a table with a not exactly like a logo, but there's a design in this circular table with 2 chairs opposite. You see a bowl full of overflowing with what are essentially grapes, and a bottle of wine, mostly drunken, and a single glass matching the one you have in your hand.
I snatch up the bottle of wine and I steal a grape. And then I go over and I take the bottle of wine with me as I'm still like, look.
You see
Just
the
keep
table.
drinking.
There's nothing on the table for like to identify anything. But there is in the corner of the like on the edge of the table there is a like a stack of paper of blank paper and an inkwell. For letter writing.
But there are no letters.
There are no currently written letters.
Okay, here's a question I have. Glowfrom is an avid writer and a somewhat decent drawer. She works with paper quite a lot. Does it look like this stack of blank papers might have had maybe an impression from what was written last? You know how, like, sometimes when you press down, it'll leave impression on the paper, but beneath it, or was it not written? Like, can I deduce that?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and roll me. What is
Scan?
a good roll? I guess a scan makes the most sense here. Yeah. Roll me scan.
Okay. A feat success.
A feat success. Okay, fantastic. A feat success. Okay, so you produce. Here's what you do. This is awesome. You nosh into some of these grapes, and you can feel like the juice of these grapes, and you kind of just rub your finger across your mouth and begin to smudge the grape juice into the paper. The first thing you notice is, unfortunately, this is entirely written in Tengwar.
Wait, but I at least know what language it is, even though I can't read it.
You know that it's Tengwar. You know that this is the language of the Sindarin or the Quenya Elves. However, you don't read Elvish. But
is it still in use, or is this like an ancient Elven language?
No, it's the same. It's the same.
Okay.
I don't think the Elves have an ancient language. I think it's just the same one the whole time.
It's just the same one the whole time. Okay.
Yeah. It splits into two mostly the same languages. But Tengwar is the written form. But because you have a great success, you recognize, for some reason, you're not even sure of what this reason is. The 2 line. The last letter that was written was to someone named Celebrimbor.
That name I know. I know that. Okay, I beg that to memory. I beg it to memory.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to wake up the sleeping elf, so I'm going to tiptoe out with my little tiny elvish feet into where I need to get out of here. Glover would be like, I can't stay here. I don't even know where I am. Or maybe I should keep drinking. Then I'll just keep going. It's like going deeper into the dream, really.
It's like Inception.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. You know, live in the now. When the unexplainable is unexplainable, you do the unexplainable to meet it. So I'm just gonna live. I'm gonna go. You know, if I can't, if I don't, what am I supposed to do? Like turn on the off switch? I don't even know what's happening to me. So I'm going to tiptoe out in my little beaded dress and try to get the hell out of here.
Okay. You do so. It's fairly easy to get out. You just sort of walk out of the room. You see a fully furnished, probably one of the fanciest and fully furnished elvish apartments you've ever seen. There
so
are
necessary
woven tapestries, Art Nouveau style furniture everywhere. There are like stained glass in certain places, casting colorful imagery perfectly as if projected down from places.
Wait! As soon as I hit the hallway, is this? I'm still in like an apartment. You said yes. But apartments are usually attached to cities, and elven cities have libraries, right?
I mean, that would stand to reason.
Do I look like I'm in my 90s, or is this like my dress, or can I tell the difference? Usually the elves it's hard to tell.
Here's what I'll say. In your experience, in your vast experience with meeting elves, you know that this is not what Elverneth wears to attack and kill people. That's the extent of your elvish knowledge. Whether this is a nightgown or an evening gown or a day gown, you're not entirely sure, but it is for sure a gown, and it like drapes on the floor behind you. It's a floor length gown with a little extra train.
So unnecessary, so loud. Why does it beat it? It's heavy. Okay, fine. Do I see an exit like a door? Is there like a cloak near the door I could maybe like toss on just in case I'm in my skivvies and I don't know it?
There is. There are a pair of beautifully beaded elven slippers. And there
my God, they're beaded too.
and there is a bright blue cloak that, as you walk towards, sort of shimmers in the sunlight. And you can see that there are images and like different shades of blue in there to depict different like art styles and like characters, and you can see the whole thing is also slightly beaded.
We'll just take that. I mean, I don't know how elves match their things. At this point, I'm pretty sure as long as it's got beads on it, it matches. So I slip my feet into these stupid shoes without a back on them. So ridiculous. And then I throw on this cloak so that maybe if I am in my 90s, nobody questions me too much, and I will get out of here.
Okay, fantastic. You throw this cloak around you and you clasp it in the center. And you note that there is a jeweled clasp on here. It is diamond shaped. Inside the diamond is a circle and another circle inside that, and it looks almost like a sunburst, almost like a compass rose, where like the four points of the diamond have the longer sunbursts and the other sides have smaller ones, and then in the center, it almost looks like almost like a cogwheel, but it's rainbow colored.
Do I know the symbol?
You do not know the symbol, but because you had a great success previously on a roll, you think this may have something to do with the House of Feanor.
Feanor. Okay. If that's the name that rings true, I try to get out. I try to sneak. Elves are snaky, right? So yeah, I'm going to slink away.
Okay.
There's got to be a library somewhere. It is Glowfrom's greatest dream. Maybe this isn't a nightmare. Maybe this is actually me fulfilling my greatest dream. I'm going to go to an elven library.
What a day that would be. You begin to you leave the apartment essentially, entering into a hallway where you see a spiral staircase with a like the stonework of the stairs is built directly, like the railing is built directly in as if it was one piece of stone. They just cut and chiseled a stairway out of and a railing out of. All of it is decked out in iconography of trees to seem more at one with nature. And the staircase spirals down the center of this tower. You see almost literally branches leading off to what you assume to be other various apartments. As you wend your way down some 50 flights, never getting tired, making your way to the base of this tower.
How is this? I'm like halfway down these stairs. I'm like, how is this? Why this? Of all the ways to build, from an architectural standpoint, this is a disaster.
Vertical.
Vertical, clearly a single column holding up the weight. This is bad design by Glowfrom's standpoint, but there's nobody here to really hear her say that. And she mutters, I could carve this staircase better.
Of course. Who couldn't? You make your way down the staircase, and you see before you exactly what you expected, really, a city. A vast city, the same you saw from above. You see these other towers shooting up. You see the caps of these golden caps of these towers in the distance. And interspersed between them, you have squat buildings, more akin to what you would imagine a normal city to have. Not everyone lives in, ostentatious towers here. But you do see it is full daylight, despite the fact that you're in a nightgown and clearly we're sleeping one off. but you see people hustling and bustling. Nothing about the hustle and bustle of this city seems nearly as what some may call grimy as a dwarven city might be. Everything seems like no one here has actually worked. The clothes aren't very dirty. Everything seems almost whimsical. Everything is very clean. There's no trash on the side. No one's shouting. There's no one stumbling out of a brothel or a bar, vomiting into an alleyway. It seems just uncouth, really. But you see everyone going about their day. Several people stop and greet and nod to you. There's a few like curt bows, a little curtsy. As you try to blend in.
To blend.
Yeah. Where are you going in a city that you've never seen before?
Okay, do any of these people look friendly?
Everyone here looks friendly.
I don't trust it. Does somebody who stops and speaks to me, do they look like they might be helpful?
Todd, this is an elven city. Everyone looks helpful.
God, I hate it. How do you know? Okay. One of the people who stopped to like nod or bow, I'm going to try to play it off, and I say, yes, I'm currently seeking the library. Could you point me in that direction?
You see,
I say in my best elvish slow speak.
You say words, and they hit your ears, and you, for a second, it's one of those things where you know your brain sent words to your mouth, and then those words hit your ears, and you're like, I didn't say that, because what's coming out of you is Quenya, is the elven language. It is auto-translating for you. This woman stands here before you, again, looking elegant, elvish. You're not entirely sure if she's a lady, a mistress, a barmaid, who knows. But she does grab the hem of her dress and sort of do a little curtsy towards you. And she says, of course, Lady Uriel. It is there. And she points to a gold-capped tower. In the distance, maybe a good 15, 20-minute walk away.
Well, thank you for helping me today. Your name is...
You're gonna give me names of handmaids, Doc?
It's fair. It's fine. You don't have to actually come up with one.
She looks to you and
I'm
says,
trying to be friendly.
It's Amarwin.
Of course. How could I forget? I am Lady Ariel.
Uriel?
Uriel. Sorry, that was actually me questioning Mike, not in character. Uriel. Okay, I am Lady Uriel.
Yes.
I swoosh my hair.
She looks to you and continues, like she's still in the curtsy, like she hasn't stood up yet.
You can stop that. Thank you so much for your help and your time, and I will see you soon. And I turn and walk towards the library tower.
You can't see how confused she is about what just happened, but she
it's
continues.
Okay. It doesn't matter. I seem important enough that she can't question it.
She continues on her merry way.
You've given me this power, Mike.
As you wend your way through city streets, you wend your way through these buildings and side streets and alleyways, and you hit a wall. As I said before, there were these concentric circles or circular plots inside the city, and you hit the first one. You hit a wall, and you know that the tower you're seeking is outside of this wall, and you hit just a straight up wall. As you make your way in one or the other direction, eventually you find a beautifully crafted gate, and there are two guards, each with very ornamental polearms, but by their side, you see that they are very not ornamental swords. And on their cloak, on their fastener, they have the same symbol that is on your cloak fastener. Theirs are just like on one side, so it's like a half cloak.
Good. I try to nod gently.
They nod back to you.
Just passing through to the library.
They don't say anything. You see them stand there with their halberds on their
Great.
hilt. They nod to you.
I gently step through just in case, like testing the waters. If they don't do nothing, I just keep walking. Just blend.
They don't.
Don't say, okay, great. I keep moving.
You
so close.
The city itself changes before you. It looks slightly different than once you're outside that circular area. And it comes to reason in your head that you weren't actually in the city. You were in someone's domain. Like that walled-in area all belonged to
it's
a
like
house.
a hamlet. Yeah,
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
That was a lord's tower. That you were in for some reason. And you make your way into the city proper. Things seem a little bit more city-ish. Everything still looks more beautiful and clean and put together than you're used to, but slightly less than inside the circle. As you make your way to the tower that you were denoted as a library. You see the tower extend before you, and you see man, maybe even for Glowfram standards, a gorgeous man standing there. He has this bright silver white single pauldron on his shoulder, under which is a cape that just sort of covers down the side. You see that he has just like the top half of a breastplate. Just the breastplate. And the rest is like very tight fitting leather. And beneath that is a beautifully flowing, skirt, essentially. And he is stood there against the wall, arms crossed. You see a fairly formidable sword at his waist. And he is has a little bit of a canted smile, like a little smirk. And he is watching you approach.
I don't say anything. This handsome man seems to be waiting upon me, so I will get. I step up.
He smiles at you and he says, "It's about time, Uriel."
It was a long night.
I can see that. You are still wearing your night clothes.
Well, I remembered my cloak. My cloak. I try to correct. I don't even know if I don't know how that works in Elvish, but I try to not sound like Glowfram.
Like a drunk elf. He looks to you and looks up and down the cloak, and you see him stop right at your neckline, and he says, "Well, you remembered someone's cloak."
Well, it was by the door.
They often are this way, and he laughs it off as if this may or may not be typical behavior for this.
I'm following me, and I'm going
in. You walk in. And you see this tower extends much like the last one. The first room you are in is massive. It extends like 20 to 30 feet in all directions. And you see from floor to 80-foot high vaulted ceilings is just books and scrolls and shelves of drawers and gems and artifacts and things of that nature. And he continues walking through as if none of this stuff matters.
I probably slow my step out of my control, just in awe. Like I'm staring at a god itself. And I think it eeps out of me lips, not even knowing it. I think I just let out I never imagined there were so many books in all of existence. And I just have to take a moment. It's probably a little overwhelming. I might cry.
You see a bunch of what you would imagine to be older elves, but at first glance they don't look much older than anyone else you've seen. They are centuries older. Sort of tending the books and moving these around. Someone comes by with a cart, and one of the books falls off haphazardly, sort of places it back on top as he continues in a very lackadaisical maintenance of this ancient library.
I guess I probably, it's It's like a kid going in a candy store for the first time. You don't really want to touch nothing, but you really want to touch everything. And I just kind of walk around, probably try to take it all in. Glowfrom had a plan before she walked through the door. Now, it's like she's lost all words, all concept of what she had come here to do. Where did the handsome man go?
He continued walking straight, and you see that in front of him, far closer to him than you now, is a like 11-foot tall, like steepled double door that has like intricate like tree work around the outside, and in the center of it is carved across both doors is a large anvil, wreathed in a sun.
Oh, is this a forge? I go over to the anvil to kind of. Is it all in Elvish?
It's on the door, so it's written out. It's like carved into the door itself. So what's behind the door, you have no idea.
Oh, the anvil is carved into the door.
Yep.
Does he go in there?
He's walking towards it. He still probably has like 10 feet to go. Hasn't noticed that you're behind him. That you're.
I was about to say,
stopped.
Try to assure that he doesn't. I probably could shake myself off a little bit, see where he's going, and then there's like a little pitter patter, a hip scop, a little step to get back in pace. And I try to pick up my best, like slow, proper Elvish walk to not seem like I'm like having a full conundrum breakdown right now.
He, whether he notices or just chooses not to, you're not entirely sure, but he continues his stride towards the door. He places both hands on it and he shoves this massive door open. And you are hit with a heat, a very familiar heat of a forge.
It probably feels great. It's like the only thing here that has felt familiar,
So the heat of the forge is so far the only thing, but that is where it started and ended. What you expect to see when you open a forge is like ash, soot-covered people, sweat, a certain smell, the heat of fire, songs. You don't hear any of that. You hear dead silence and the occasional tink, 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 tink sound of someone smithing something.
They're clearly not hitting it hard enough. I can tell you that just from the sound of it, but who am I to correct them? So I keep my mouth shut. This handsome man, does he
continues
go
walking
anywhere?
In. He continues walking in. And you, as you follow him, your eyes sort of adjust to the darkness, this din here, far darker than any other part of the city you've been in. And as they adjust, you see contraptions that you immediately, like the gears start spinning, to like smoke would come out of your ear. The smithing contraptions that are in here is a technology lost to time. This is something that if a dwarf had their hands on, could revolutionize the industry. You see, insane levels of pulleys and different kinds of metals coming down tubes of this, like, some sort of glimmering metal that these tubes are made out of that sort of shines as if there is additional light in here. There's, like, light coming off of these things. They pull it and, like, liquid metal pours out of it as if, like, tapping a keg. And you see everyone here not covered in soot, not covered in leather aprons, in flowing gowns and similar armor, hand wraps, all smithing with these tiny hammers. The hammer is maybe 10 inches long from the head to the hilt. The whole thing is made out of metal, and the hammer itself looks ornate. It almost looks like an axe head, where almost like a claw hammer, right? Like a claw hammer we would have, where the tail ends in a point, and the head sort of almost looks like an axe, like a hollow axe head, but it's flat on the front. And you see that the handle sort of tapers down, not wrapped in anything, but at the base of the hammer, there's a star symbol sort of stamped into it. Everyone has the exact same hammer. There's no like personification of these things, and everyone is working quietly. And it's almost like if you've ever seen like French cuisine prepared in a kitchen. Everyone is silent, but everyone knows everyone's position. So you hear like a tink tink, then it slides down, and the next person knows to expect the thing coming over. It's almost like autonomous in its simplicity, as everyone seems to be working like one unit, which is far less chaos than you're used to.
I think Glowfrom just tries to take it all in. She tries to remember everything that she can. This is a fount of information. It's like actually getting to walk into a history book, not just read about it, you know? And so she's trying to just absorb like a sponge as much as she can and watch it and learn. And like immediately she goes, she thinks, I guess to herself, the hammers they make the weapons with are clearly imbued with some kind of elven magic, not imbuing the weapon they're making with magic. Like she starts piecing different things together. It's like watching masterful work. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it's like. This is something that most people, even alive at this time, haven't seen. Let alone people alive in your time, whatever time difference this is. You see, coming from the back of the room around one of these devices, a man. He is wearing a similar blue, like not like the blue of your cloak, but that's his gown. Is entirely blue. You see that he has like a blue like doublet that sort of ends down in like almost like a triangular sort of shape over his hips, under which are pants, unlike the beautiful man you're speaking with. And he has like dark black hair that cascades down like past his pecs. He seems like he might be a little bit older, but you're not entirely sure. And he walks with the confidence that says this is his. He controls all of this, and then some. He walks over and he inspects each of the stations, and as the final station brings to him a small ring, a very small thing that they are working on. He places it down in a large plinth in front of you, to which the beautiful man walks over to that and kind of looks to you and sort of gives you like a, come on, to usher you forward.
I step up like I'm supposed to be there, a little shocked to be seeing the same gold ring I swallowed just a few hours earlier.
You do see that ring. However, you see that in that ring there are 7 settings. Like gem settings that are empty, and you see the man with the armor sort of reach into his little side pouch, and he pulls out like a rainbow of 7 gems, some very small gems. And you see the man with the long black hair. He picks one up and he glints it in whatever light makes for this place, and he sets one down into one of the sockets here, and you see him produce one of the same kind of hammers, and ting. He strikes that, and it hits like a melodic note, like a chorus of sound. Like that one note extends for quite some time. And while that would be beautiful to most people, the moment that hammer comes in contact with that ring, you have a shooting pain up the base of your spine into into the back of your brain, that makes your eyes sort of go black. Like it's like if you got hit in the back of the head, and your vision sort of goes black for just a second. And in this second, you see fire. That's it. You just see fire. You see fire, and you know that this is not the fire of a forge. And as soon as that ring just goes down, your vision clears and you're back.
Okay. So that I got all this straight. The ring I swallowed's not the one they're working on, but it looks very similar. This one they're setting 7 stones into.
Here's what I'll say. You saw the ring for a brief second while Willie was up like this, defending himself from a wraith, before you snatched it off its finger and threw it down your gullet.
And swallowed it.
So,
Wait, no, I saw it when when I took out the hanky and he put it in the hanky for the first time.
You're right. The ring you swallowed also has 7 gems.
Okay, so this is the ring I swallowed. It's just
correct.
before they made it. Okay, so I take that piece in, and then when they hit it with the hammer, as if to inset the gems, which I'm going to ask a gem question in a second. All I saw was fire and shoot and pain.
Yep.
When it's gone, did my body crumble? Did anybody notice that I was in pain?
Nope, no one seemed to have moved an inch.
Okay, well, if they don't notice, I'm just gonna maybe lean and grab hold of something to make sure I don't fall over in such pain. And try to focus and get a closer look at the gems that they're insetting into it. Do the gems mean anything? Do they in terms of oftentimes specific gems can have meaning? Does it seem like these are specific meaningful gems?
It does seem that way. However, you don't have enough context to know what that might mean.
That's okay. I'm just trying to remember.
Yeah,
I need to remember
it does appear
this.
that 7, he didn't produce a bag of random gems. He produced 7 specific gems, each of a different color. So you would imagine that was specific in that way.
I try really hard through the pain and the fire to write it to memory. I need to remember the 7 stones. And watch this process with great thoroughness. I feel like, well, I'm standing here. Does anybody say anybody else's name? I've got my name, and I got the name of the girl I spoke to, and somebody named Celebrimbor.
You note that as he swings the hammer, some of his hair moves out of the way, and he too has that same symbol on his thing. Roll me. This is going to be a difficult roll, but roll me a lore.
It's the worst that can happen. Man, a fever dream. Extraordinary 2 successes.
Okay, so extraordinary success. The symbol, you're fairly certain, is the House of Feanor. Celebrimbor is the last descendant of the House of Feanor. The House of Feanor,
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
Let's look at this from a dwarven side of things.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do here.
Okay, as a dwarf that is obsessed with a level of craftsmanship and would have learned even from maybe not her father, because Gimli, that's not what he was necessarily known for, was his craftsmanship, but me uncles and me cousins of, and second cousins and third dwarven cousins were, I had to learn from somebody. I had to have her stories, right? Of at some point us working the dwarves, and our half of what I know is the above table made a piece of this story.
You know of a and perhaps it is your recent love life that prevented you from realizing it before. You know of a dwarf, absolutely not the one in the caravan, named Narvi.
Narvi?
Yes, Narvi. He is an ancient dwarf. It is spoken about. He created, along with Celebrimbor, the doors to Moria.
I think when I put it all together, because Glow sometimes she can't stop herself. Things just seep out of her mouth.
Or into it.
Or into it. And sometimes it's this both in the same day. She probably says, "You crafted the doors to Moria." Like when I piece it all together, it almost like comes out of her mouth between the pain and the fire and figuring out that this ring is technically supposed to be in me belly. And I know the name Celebrimbor, but I couldn't put it with where I had heard it before, and now I remember. And I was like, with Narvi, you carved the gates to Moria.
He stops mid-swing, and he slowly places the hammer down, and he says, "My dear, have you been drinking again.
I'm terribly sorry for the outburst. I'm not feeling quite myself today. I was thinking, I think Glowfrom's starstruck now. Like, I'm totally fangirl starstruck now that I know who this is. This is one of the greatest craftsmen of all time. Okay? Like, I haven't read, obviously, a lot of text, but knowing who this is not a nobody. And I'm wearing his house crest, which I still haven't put all that together yet, but it's fine. And I say, I think I'm feeling just a little lightheaded today. Maybe I should just go sit down and enjoy a good book.
He looks to you and he says, we need you here.
Oh, yes, of course.
All discussed.
Let me... absolutely. Why would I question that? I greatly apologize for the outburst. It was not elvish-like.
He looks to you, and there's that almost like parental scolding just sort of building up. You can see like behind his face. And then he looks to the other man that's there and just sighs and raises his arm up again and strikes the ring.
I think this time I prep for it. I prep for the pain.
You do. You prep for the pain, and again, it shoots up your spine into the base of your neck and like shoots through your eyes. And you see the fire again spreading. You see what is someone that absolutely looks like Celebrimbor, at least as far as you can tell here. And he's meeting with someone else, some other elf, one that you have no idea who it is. You can't really identify. But the other elf looks sinister. It looks like this other elf is absolutely up to no good. In a way
What?
that like in a way that you've never quite seen before. You have a
Oh. Well, I know a sneaky fella from a mile away.
That's true.
Can I, is there a way for me to read into the insides of this here sneaky elf?
Here's what I'll say. You see this interaction happening, and you see the sinister looking elf, jet black hair slicked back over the ears, cascading down. He wears like a yellow, sorry, not yellow, a dark like burgundy, like dress essentially, with a black cowl sort of over it, drooping down the front. And the exchange between him and Celebrimbor seems like one of a power exchange, in that the black-haired elf is clearly in a greater position of power than Celebrimbor, and you see him like shaking his hand, and then you see Celebrimbor slowly, and it doesn't seem willing, kneel before him as if in pain, and then boom, you're back in the forge here. You see the man holds up another gem, examines it, and they get ready to set the next gem.
Before you set that next gem, who are we making this ring for? Just a reminder.
Ariel, you.
Right. Of course, I was just testing you. A little elvish humor this morning.
Celebrimbor silently grimaces and seems to be absolutely done with your shit. The other man, who still has not been named yet, he looks to you and like at first there's a bit of like a quizzical, and then he just smiles as if he is under no disillusion that this isn't typical Uriel behavior. And as you try to puzzle out what these silent looks mean, the hammer ting strikes again as the third gem is in here, and you see that same fire. Except you see it from a new vantage point. It is almost the same scene you saw when you first awoke in this strange vision. You stand atop a balcony, perhaps the same one, and beneath you, the city that expanded before you against the mountainside, waterfall, the whole river situation is ablaze. You hear, for the first time, you hear sound. You hear the crackling of the fire, you hear screams, you hear fighting happening below. Something is happening, and whatever this city is, wherever this city is being razed to the ground. Yes.
Okay. After I come out of my shell shock and I'm hearing the sounds of war. Now that Glowfrom has faced a little bit of, can do, know that. I'm back on my balcony. If this is, okay, whoever the person was sleeping in my bed, I learned that I was wearing their cloak, not mine.
Yes.
And their cloak bore the crest of his house. And this ring is being made for me, which means I must be important. Who would I be married to? Or
Those
who would
are
I be
all
sleeping with?
great questions.
Is that person here? I look behind me off the balcony back inside. I pull back the sheer curtain.
The gossamer curtain. You pull this back, and the bed is askew, as if there had been some tumultuous situation going on there. But there is no one there with you. If there was a man of the house, he would have been called to arms.
I see. Okay. Well, I put together that this is, whose house it is, and whose territory, I guess we can say, my place sits in. Do I know from history books where Celebrimbor was located? Like where he called home?
Roll me lore.
Okay. Maybe don't give up on me now, Dice. Oh, no. I don't know. I can't remember. I'm too drunk.
Actually, you know what? I will give you this, but nothing else. You do, because this has come up previously, the name of the region, Eregion, which is still a region, in where we are. And
okay.
But there were elven cities here that are no more.
Right. Okay, but we're talking. So if he was around for the creation of the Doors of Durin with Narvi, and the little that Glowfrom may even slightly know about the timeline of that, and I'm not even in the Third Age.
No.
So I'm probably standing in what, an elvish city that was leveled in what war? Do I know what war?
Based on previous questions we've asked here, no. This would be an elven war. While
Only.
a big deal, the dwarves elected not to help out.
But would I know that?
The dwarves elected not to help out in a lot of things. So which war the dwarves get
I
shitty
see.
about?
So we've all okay, but I can at least get we opted out of the series. Okay, see, I start Sherlocking this as I'm watching the city burn.
Mm-hmm.
We opted out of a few different battles to help out the elves. Would I know that short list and which ones we opted out of in the Second Age? Can I slim the list down?
I will let you roll a lore on this one. But this is gonna be ill-favored. This is gonna be a hard one.
Okay, ill-favored. Lore. No, I failed. Oh, so close though.
Yeah, unfortunately, You've narrowed down enough things, but even then, your history on this, like the Second Age, is
Yeah, that's just like
2000.
you know,
It's so long ago.
it's like studying the Bible, right?
Yeah.
In terms of the actual span of years,
Yeah.
of turning of the planet. Okay. Well, the truth of the matter is there isn't much I can do. I don't. I guess I stand here and watch the city burn unless they feel like there's something I can do to help.
In this moment, there's nothing. You feel a sense of dread and a sense of longing and a sense of loss, and whether that is for an individual or for the city at large, you're not entirely sure. But you do notice that as you stand with your hand on the banisters, perhaps, looking over the city as it burns, that on your left finger, on your left hand, that ring with 7 gems in it is on there.
Okay. My dwarf. Okay.
I'm just watching Dot solve a Lord of the Rings for Rubik's Cube.
I know. Well, so here's the thing. There's not really anything I can do in the moment. I can't like knock myself out of this.
Yeah.
You know, I could come to a couple logical conclusions, which is, you know, I could attempt to throw myself here from this balcony and hope I wake up where I started, which was on the worst day to me life. I can try to leave again, but I'm going into the middle of battle. Or, you know, I could just complete the circle and swallow this here ring again and see if it resets me. You know what I mean?
Jesus
but you know,
Christ.
I don't know. I'm the only reason I've not done that is because honestly, I don't know if elves have the same gag reflux as a dwarf, and maybe I can't get it down. Look, I've swallowed worse than rings, okay? At least in my dwarven body, but this is here tiny framed elvish. I ain't even got. Where would I even put a ring in this here belly? It's so thin and tiny.
Listen, if anyone in Middle Earth doesn't have a gag reflex, it's the elves. Let's be honest here. That's no shade for the elves.
I'm just saying. You know, most of them look like they'll snap in a light breeze. So I'm just saying, I don't know if I could actually get this ring down me gullet.
Well, as you ponder, the vision of the flames begins to fade, and you find yourself back in the forge. Another gem has been set in, the 4th gem, and you see that Celebrimbor has raised his hammer high in the air. You have a second to act, if you'd like to do so, or if there's anything you'd want to do. As he slowly, slowly brings it down.
Really want to go talk to this dark and stormy elf.
If only he were here.
Oh, he's not here this time?
No, that was in a vision.
Oh, that was in the second. Okay,
That was in the second vision.
You know what? I find myself probably a very thin, unnecessarily gaudily carved chair, and I sit down to wait out the incoming pain.
Okay, so you see his arm up. You excuse yourself as he starts to bring it down. You find a small stool, a gaudy thin stool, as you
Doesn't
bring
even have
that
a back
over.
on it.
No, of course not. As he looks to you again with that same sort of like pseudo fatherly, like what the fuck, as he ting. And hits the
tired. I'm just feeling tired.
Sit down. He hits the 4th gem, and again you have that shooting pain that is now sort of grown accustomed to you. You smell dirt. You smell decay. You smell like wet earth, and you see yourself like you're like digging through the ground, and your hands are again different. They are not the long, slender hands of elves. In fact, you're not even sure they're the long, slender hands of a woman. They are gnarled. They are slightly thicker, but not nearly as short and thick as a dwarf. You assume these are mannish hands. As they are digging through the ground here, you feel a hard, like stone of some kind, and you hear yourself sort of call out in a brusque mannish voice, deep voice. Hey, let's go! Get over here! It's over here! And you see several other men come through, piecemeal armor, leather, scraps. In
Human?
your eyes,
Is everyone human?
everyone is human, and they all look very. Man, it's hard to say between brigands or Rangers of the North. You're not entirely sure what they could be because the garb is similar sometimes. But they all begin to start digging, and you see that they have found a solid slab of stone, including yourself as you dig through this, a solid slab of stone. What are you doing in this moment?
Can I just take, I don't really stop digging, but I'm not really digging, you know. Can I take in my surroundings? I'm a well-traveled dwarf.
Yeah.
In fact, one of my best skills.
Mhm.
Do I know where I am at? Can I tell by like the trees or the river or the road? I don't exactly know where we are, but can I tell where we're at?
Yeah, let's see how well you do. Roll me a travel.
Okay. Don't fail me now. An extraordinary success.
Okay, fantastic. You are in in Arnor. You are in the area. You are Eriador, like the area you are familiar with. You know, because you look off to the east, that you are not close enough to the mountains to be in Eregion any longer. Eregion abuts the mountains of Moria.
Right.
You are further to the west, you assume. Judging by where you are, you see a lot of hills and some plains. Your best guess is you are either in Cardolan or you are in Rudour.
So I'm west of Moria.
You are west of Moria. Yep, you are west of Eregion.
Does that make me so okay, west of Oregon, so past Lorien, not as far south as like Rohan.
That's east. That's east of the Misty Mountains. You're west.
Not by I was about to say, which you said I was west, right? It's like southwest of the Misty Mountains. So how far, like, give me some mileage here. How far out am I from, say, Moria? Am I days travel?
You are weeks travel.
Wow, okay. So I'm actually really close to what we... Oh, I see. Oh, thank you. That's what I needed. Okay, yeah. Okay. So the hills I'm seeing are probably the South Downs.
They could be the South Downs. They could be the North Downs. They could be the Weather Hills. They could be...
Okay.
The Watchtowers.
Okay. Since I'm well-traveled specifically in these parts, I know what used to be, say, I'll use Weathertop as an example, right? There used to be buildings there. Now, in my time, they're in ruin.
Yep.
Do I see things around that say should be in ruin but aren't?
You see things that are in ruin.
Oh, okay. So I might be a little closer to me time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Well, that helps a lot. I just keep trying to like pretend to dig while I'm taking in my surroundings, trying to figure out where I am without saying nothing. I don't say nothing this time.
Yeah. The air seems cool. It seems to be your best guess is late fall, probably. The ground hasn't started to turn hard yet, but it is damp, meaning that the rainfall is higher here. So that's your best guess. But as you look around, there are no distinct buildings, at least that you, Glowform, are aware of, in these ruins to like pinpoint where you are. But your best, like you look in all directions looking for Weathertop, and Weathertop is not in your line of sight, which that's the intent. It's a pretty high up space to be in your line of sight. So your best guess is either you are more south than the South Downs or more north than the Weather Hills.
Oh, okay. Because I can't put eyes on it.
You can't put eyes on it. So either it's too far south and you can't see, or it's too far north and you can't see. Unfortunately, you can't tell the difference from where you are at this moment.
Okay, so really I don't know if I'm up here or up here.
Correct. You're either south of the South Downs or north of Weatherhill.
Weatherhill. Oh my gosh. Okay. I immediately go back to whatever we're excavating.
You look back down and your hands continue going. The dirt has been cleared of this, and you see a stone, like a very flat stone table, arguably. And you see several of the people on one side all come to your side, and you begin to push this thing open, and it is
I know what this is.
It is a sarcophagus of some kind, and in it, you see the remains of a beautiful elven woman. Despite the age, the hundreds of years that have passed, whatever circumstance was done to the actual body and the burial of this, it is fairly well kept, well intact, not quite mummified, but still retaining some elvish beauty. And you see crossed on the arms, at the wrists, is that ring with seven gems on it. And as soon as your hands pull that off, you're back in the forge. As you sit there and sort of come to, sweating a little bit, maybe from the heat, maybe from exhaustion, as you see that the unnamed hot elf has reached across and handed a 5th gem to Celebrimbor, who again examines it for something and places it in its socket. They again look to you because every time they've hit a new one, you've done something strange. So they stop for a second.
I just say, please continue.
The hot elf smiles, and Celebrimbor has a very sarcastic, like a very sarcastic nod as he strikes the hammer again, setting the fifth of 7 gems. And again, that same shooting pain, the same rush of energy through your brain, your eyes sort of swirl black, and you see that your same hands, your same mannish hands, you see battle cuffs, what are they? What the hell are those? Not pauldrons. What the hell are the fucking? Anyway, wrist guards. That's the word.
Bracers.
Bracers. Yeah, there we go. Are like belted on to both arms. You see blood and mud and dirt coat your hands, and in your right hand is an axe. That is absolutely not of mannish make and is absolutely not the right size for your body. It's definitely a piece that they have found somewhere else. But you feel the tight cinching of leather on your body as if you are cinched into some sort of battle armor. As you are, you sort of come to, sweat pours down you. You hear the cries of fighting in different directions. You hear a Wilhelm scream in the distance, and charging towards you. 7 feet tall, a mountain of muscles, hair pulled back into a top knot, swinging what is considered a sword by some people's means, but definitely a slab of sharpened metal, possibly not even with a proper hilt, overhead, and bellowing in some sort of guttural noise that makes for a language, is an uruk, as they charge down towards you, swinging this blade overhead. And the last thing you think before your body is relieved of its head is what?
I think?
Yeah, what do you think? You see this Uruk charging towards you. In a second, your body will be relieved of its head. What's the last thought that goes through your mind?
At least Narvig's not here.
The camera sees the head just sort of spin comically in the air as it plummets to the ground, and you are back in action here in the forge. Fucking Narvig. As another stone is set inside. There are 2 left. There's the one that's being set now and one additional one. Is there anything you are doing in this moment, Glofram?
Is the dark-haired creepy elf back?
The creepy elf the creepy elf has never been in this room. That was in a vision during the
Oh,
second strike.
But he has, let me rephrase that. I know that. He hasn't come back in any of the visions.
He has not come back in any of the visions.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Then, you know what? I wave him on in my best elven, like, get to it at this point.
Yeah.
Glowfrom's got the hang of it now, and she's like, this ring is trying to tell me something. And it's like, I'm 3/4, two-thirds of the way through the book here. And I got two gems to go, and Glowfrom wants to know the end of this story.
Yeah. The hammer rings down, and you feel that pain shoot through. You see your vision kind of go black, and you are choking on water. You feel your lungs full of water. Your vision is blurry at the edges, and everything in front of you is sort of like swimming. Everything's blurry. Your eyes are open underwater. You feel water only on the front part of your body. You feel heavier, you feel bigger, almost comfortably dwarven, but then you take a second and you are far larger than even a dwarf would be as you float in water. What do you do?
Like happily?
No.
Like I'm drowning?
Well, more like you're drowning than happily.
Okay. Can this hefty body swim?
You try to pull your arms forward to swim, and there are sharp pains in several places in your back, in your shoulder blade. Every time you lift an arm over, pain shoots through your shoulder blade and like into your rib cage, in your lower back as you arc forward. And you note that the water becomes cloudy with red every time you try to move in a swimming fashion. Not impossible, just painful.
I guess I just accept my oncoming death is what it feels like if I can't get myself to like some air.
You struggle for air, and you kind of get up and breathe. You can breathe. You gasp forward. You're sort of moving through the current of the river is pulling you southbound. At least that you can tell. Because that's southbound is kind of specific, but it's also the only direction that the ocean is. So all rivers flow towards the ocean. So you're being pulled southbound in some capacity. Every time you move, there's pain shooting through your back, your spine, your shoulder blades, etc. And more of the water clouds with red. But you sort of gasp for breath, hoping to hang on for a little bit longer. And as you sort of, arc and roll in the river, you sort of start to turn onto your back, and you feel something hit that's not like, it's not part of your back. Nothing hits your back. Like you didn't roll into a branch or anything like that. But you roll and hit something, and whatever you hit just sends a shock of pain through your body. And you realize that as you begin to roll back onto your stomach, your back is peppered full of arrows. And as you roll back onto your face, essentially, a chain floats forward, and on the end of that chain, you see that same ring, all 7 gems intact, as you slowly float downriver, your lifeblood slowly draining from your body as a innumerable amount of arrows stick out of your back, whoever you are, as you float downstream. And as your vision blurs and slowly fades to black, your final moments pass, and you are back in the forge.
This is the last one, right?
This is the last one.
I smile at him and I say, do it.
He looks to you as you have like a almost anxious energy about you, like the drive
The
to
end
hit
of the
this
story
final
is
thing.
here. Yes, just bring me home.
He looks at you, and he's holding the gem up for a second, and then his eyes dart to the gem to check for whatever he's checking for, and he slowly brings it back down, eyes again on you, a little bit suspicious of whatever is happening. He raises the hammer again and strikes down, and we hear a bar top full of vomit and a ring. sits at the inn of the Prancing Pony. And that is where we end this episode of The Shattered Crown. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Hey.
And I fulfilled my promise to Narvik he'd say something tonight, and what he saw was a dwarf puking up gold.
That is true. That is absolutely true. That is the end of this episode. We did have a corruption bar. I will add it to our list of corruption bars that will come back into play once we have the whole cast here, because, man, stuff is not great. Cool. So yeah, that was episode 19 to pass the time, which was very fun, very interesting, and I can't wait to see what dot noodles from all of this lore that was just dropped here.
I mean, you know I'm going to, right? Because I'm obsessed now, and I'm already thinking okay, which ring of power is it? Let's do our count. Do any of them have matched the description? I'm already fully in. And Glowform is too, but in a totally different way. This is, you know what, I know, I'm guessing we're going to have some kind of talk with everybody when Glowform comes out of her drunken stupor, but
I hope so.
Glowform likes to solve puzzles, right? Knowledge is her thing, right? The more knowledge, the more power you have. But this ring is the greatest puzzle they've come across in a long time. And she just got a lot of puzzle pieces, and we've been looking for, or Glowform's been looking for purpose. And she may have just found it.
Interesting. I like that. I'm a fan of that. People are asking, the hot elf that was standing by, that sort of seemed to know Uriel, his name was Ulthadir. Which means male dreamer in Sindarin. He is a made-up character, as is Uriel, as is the handmaid.
I was going to say, Uriel's all, it was definitely made up. I'm just interested to know if it was Uriel's hand that had the ring on it with the 7 stones.
It was. That was my intention, was to...
That was it. Okay,
yeah.
Good. I interpreted that right. Then...
Yeah.
Was it a ring of power? Who is this Uriel character? Which ring is it? Does it? Oh, I have questions. I have so many questions. Oh my God.
I will answer this. The television program, The Rings of Power, has skewed the phrase "the Rings of Power." There were the 20, 19, something. The Rings of Power.
The 7, the 9, the 3, and the 1.
And the 1, yeah. Those are rings of power, but there were also other rings of power throughout the course of history.
Okay, so this I knew, and actually one of my theories is that there's one specific ring of power that was created there's a couple that are talked about in the Silmarillion that aren't part of the core, what I call the triangle, the pyramid of Sauron's rings. Yeah. I assumed that it was going to be one of those.
I can tell you this is I mean, it probably has a better name, but this is the Ring of 7 Gems, or the Ring of 7 Jewels.
Right.
Which is what it's called. It might have a cool Sindarin or Quenya name that I haven't given it yet, but this is, as of yet, not a canonical ring. And it's definitely not one of the Rings of Men. Those are all gifted to the Wraiths, and it's definitely not a ring of Dwarven kind.
Right.
Those are lost to history. And it's obviously not one of the 3 Elvish rings. Those are still in possession.
Well, okay, so you know what? Sorry, y'all. We're just gonna go ahead and do the after show here because I ain't even got time for all that cut to Zoom record bullshit. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. We actually don't do after shows on the one shots, so go nuts.
Oh, well, that's good. So I'm about to just spill the beans. Okay, so I don't know. I have theories and thoughts. Originally, above table, I thought it was one of the human rings because a wraith was seeking it, right? So we know that the Nazgul eventually they keep the rings. That's right. They come back across their rings over time. Some of them do.
So the ring wraiths never lost their rings, at least as
right.
far
That's
as
what I
I
mean.
understand.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't lose them. So I was like, okay. So my first thought, because we were being tracked by a wraith with it, is that maybe one of the Nazgul had that they're trying to seek back out. So that was my original feeling. But then when we ended up in all of the Second Age elf stuff, my guess right now is that this ring was created along with a slew of other magic rings in the time of the core pyramid of rings of power as we know it, right? Which means
Yes.
the battle that we saw is probably the first battle for the rings. Right? We lose. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, because this is me. I don't have my books in front of me, but we lose. All right, no, not all of Oregon. We lose that city, that town, the tower, the forge, all of it. It's all burned.
Yeah, the city that you were in was
doesn't make it.
Yeah, none of the elven lands make it. The city you were in is called Ost en Edil, which is the capital city of Oregion.
Right, and it is like burned to a crisp, like leveled.
Yep. Yeah,
basically.
the war you saw was the War of the Elves.
Was the War of the Elves. Okay,
sorry,
so
it's the War of the Elves and Sauron.
Yeah, okay, so that was my guess, which is, it's the point in which go look it up, y'all. I'm not going to go into all of the history, but yeah, okay, that was my assumption. That's why Glowform was trying to piece the pieces and parts together to see if there's any way she could come to that conclusion, which is okay that she can't. The question I have is, okay, so the 7 stones, Glowform still has some research to do to see if there's anything in particular about the 7, because each gem seemed to hold a memory. Even though all the gems were set originally, at least for whatever Glowform was going through, there was this like multiple sets of memories that came from it. Each person who had held that ring, that 7-gem ring at some point, and every one of their deaths, I imagine.
More or less.
She died in the war.
Yep.
The one shot with arrows, right? I imagine that the rangers that like took the ring when we saw her body probably die.
Well, you got your head cut off.
Oh, right. In the that's a battle I'm not exactly totally sure of, but I still think it has to do with the battle of the elves and Sauron.
It doesn't. It would be after.
It would be because I established that based on the surroundings. So anyways, I have lots of theories. The real question is, what the fuck do we do with this ring of power? Because even though it's not one of the core pyramid of rings of power, it still has something about it, and this wraith is tracking it, and Glowform knows that much without a shadow of a doubt. Now we have the history of it, and honestly, knowing that it is one of the elven, not the core 3, but an elven ring of power, it deserves to go back to the elves.
Well, technically speaking, all of the rings of power in the pyramid, as you said, they're all elven rings. They were all forged by Celebrimbor. Right.
But this one was made for an elven lady. The other ones were like made for the dwarves, so technically they belong to the dwarves, no matter who made it. This was made for an elf, therefore it deserves to go back into elven hands, and Glowform has no idea how to do that.
That's fair.
Oh my god, Glowform's gonna have... I can only imagine what the next morning's gonna look like.
That's fair.
Glowform's gonna have like paper all over the floor, and she'll have written and drawn and sketched and colored, and she's gonna look like she's lost it.
I will say, someone asked before, the sinister elf, his name was Anatar, for anyone who knows who that is.
Man, I have so many.
That is a canonical character,
yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that you saw the fall of Oregion. You saw the aftermath of the creation of the rings, leading to the War of Elves and Sauron. You saw the either bandits or perhaps Rangers of the North, which means that is the fall of Arnor. Post the fall of Arnor, the breaking of the tomb of Uriel. And an army or skirmish of Uruks, which is also a war that happened, and eventually the death of someone floating south, down the river, down probably like, I don't know, the Swan Fleet maybe. not the Swan Fleet, the what do you call it? That one river that I can't think of. The something flood, the Grey Flood, that's what it's called. Floating down the Grey Flood. Yeah, a lot of interesting, actual lore.
I'm leaning towards they found her body in Rudar. I think is where we dug up her crypt. Based on the description that you gave and the fact we couldn't see Weathertop, that is my guess. But I don't know what Glowfrom knows about Rudar, and if she could even, because here's the thing, everybody, you're right. Like, there's this idea of like, put it back, right? Take it back to the crypt where they dug this elf up and put it back on her hand and put it back where it belongs. But then somebody else could come along and dig it up again.
Yep.
Do we want that ring of power in somebody else's hands? We know what happened when it was in that poor woman and her brother's hands. Oh man, Glowfrom's fully found obsession. This is the dwarven obsession that happens, but not because she saw great amounts of gold or because she wants wealth and riches. Like, she is obsessed with the story of this ring. She's completely taken by the truth of what this is, the knowledge that it could offer.
Not all hordes are gold.
Yeah, not all hordes are gold.
Not all treasure is gold.
And I think there's this I think there's something there. Willie wants to be a treasure hunter. Glowfrom is kind of in the mad mage stage where you're coming up to becoming, you're not the mad mage yet, right? But your obsession with knowledge is what inevitably leads you there.
Dragon sickness takes many forms.
Yes, dragon sickness takes many, many forms. And Glowfrom has always like judged her kin for like their obsession with the gold and this idea of like how quaint, like how can you let your mind fall to such a thing? But it's because she was never offered the treasure to test her. And now for the first time, she's been offered her version of treasure, which is vast amounts of knowledge. She will forever seek out an elven library. If she could ever end up in a similar place, like she didn't get to open a book for Christ's sake. You know what I mean? She tried, but there's like this, there's now this different, it's a different kind of obsession. It's a different thing that eats away at the mind.
If only you had a 2,000-year-old elf to ask questions to.
Oh, there will be questions and they will be answered.
That'll be so interesting because now I have to like give Aris answers. She can answer them like in character about certain things. 'Cause I forget the math, but I think she might have been around for that, but she was like a child for that.
I imagine that that Elevornith was an adolescent when the War of the Elves and Sauron started.
I think if my math is correct, she might have been younger than that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so she was like baby.
She was an adolescent in the War of Angmar. When the Witch King of
Angmar rose.
Yeah. Which was well after the Second Age. Well after the Elves defeated Sauron the first time.
It was really the beginning of the Third Age, right?
Yeah. It was in the beginning of the Third Age.
So okay, that's interesting. But Elevornith may still know something, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Obviously, she's a princess essentially of elves, so her learned knowledge of elven history is much greater than yours.
Oh, Glowfrom's gonna have a lot of questions for Elevornith.
It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna write up a whole thing just for Aris.
and now Glowfrom can say, I've walked in elven shoes. I know things.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting
I drink
to see what
and
happens.
know stuff, y'all. As Glowfrom.
That is true. You did drink until you knew stuff. That's perfect. All right, with that's where we're going to wrap up this episode in our mini after show. For those of you who like this peek behind the curtain of what our after shows are, go check us out over on Patreon. Link in the description down below. I didn't do my normal intro. While you're down there, click on that link. Join us in the Discord. Be a part of the community. Be a part of the conversation. And that's really it. Dot, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? And what the hell are you up to?
Oh, friends, you can find me online as Little Red Dot, pretty much all the places. this is my home away from home where I'm streaming right now. I'm running a lot of private games and start playing games. I'm about to have a time slot open up next Thursday. I finished off a private game I've been running for a while, so I actually have a spot opening. So if you and your friends want to do a 4 or 6 week run post Dragon Con, which is the next place you can find me, at the beginning of September, I will be taking on another table for a short run of something. So if you, Kate, yourself and at least 2 other people, I need 3 players to make it worth my booking. You can come hit me up and start playing games, and we'll talk about what you want and what you want to play, and I will run it for you in a private setting. So yeah, check that out. Other than that, almost everything I'm doing is in the middle of a break right now because this is con season. So the podcast is on a break. Everything's just kind of on a break. So the things I can tell you and the best ways to support me right now are to keep giving to Mike's channel. Number 1. Number 2, hit me up on Start Playing Games. Number 3, go buy a Kobold Press book because that's where I spend every waking breath. And I love and support what we are doing right now with Tales of the Valiant. And if you want to support more of like me personally and what I've been up to, you can go hit up Modifius, where I have where I have written a book, helped write a book called The Winter of Adam, which is for the Fallout RPG, and it's awesome and sick and amazing, and I'm obsessed. I'm very proud. So you can actually go check that out. I'm in the book on the Modifius website now because it's available.
And if you like Fallout and you like Winter of Adam, there's a very highly likely chance you may see it here on the channel, run by one of the writers. But that's just, me forward thinking. That being said, go follow Dot in all the places. Go follow the rest of the cast. Check everybody out. Do the social media things. We've been on break for a few weeks, so go hit everyone up. Tell them you love them. Go watch a video. Leave some comments. Leave a thumbs up or a smiley face. It helps the algorithm. That being said, we're out of here. We'll see you next week for more Shattered Crown shenanigans, where we get to see Glowfrom rapid fire questions at Elverneth. And I get to sit back and watch as Aris scrolls through a document that I provide her of notes. That's it. We have a game, 2 games on Saturday if you're sticking around, and that's it. The rest of my games aren't streamed. We have Age of Always on Saturday. We also have The Rise on Saturday, so come check those out this weekend. But that's it from us. We'll see you guys next time. From all of us to you, bye-bye.